Let's talk about the top 10 things that you can do outside your home to improve the curb appeal and have it look its best. And that's particularly important because when people buy a home, a lot of the time, one of the first things they do is they drive by to see if they even want to see the inside. So we want the outside looking its best. So strangely enough, or maybe it's not strange, what I recommend, the first thing you do is you actually drive up to your home like you're one of those prospective home buyers. You'll get a different perspective. The neighbors won't think you're strange. They won't really pay attention, but just drive up slowly and you might say something like, wow, I didn't realize how much I've got that area of shrubs that are dead, or gee, paint at my house doesn't look so great. So you'll get a great perspective if you do that. So that's the first thing I recommend. Next thing is to look to see if you have any kind of overgrown trees or shrubs and trim them, shape them, particularly if they're big and they block windows. It's amazing how much it makes a difference that if your house is kind of hidden by shrubs, it doesn't have any character to it. But once you trim those, then it starts to develop its character. Something else that's important, now I know in San Diego we have a water shortage, but the reality is green grass sells better than brown grass. So you want to water your grass. If you want to get something quick that will green it up faster, you get something called ammonia sulfate, sulfate ammonia, perhaps something called ammonia nitrate. I didn't do well in chemistry in high school. And when you put that on, it's really key that you water it heavily. You follow the instructions. If you don't water it, you will kill your lawn. You'll get the opposite effect. So you definitely want to water it. Next thing I recommend is planting flowers. You want a lot of color. So that would be perhaps planting flowers, having pots of flowers, a box of flowers below your window. You just want a lot of color. If you have a gray or a beige house and you have kind of a so-so green lawn, even if it's green but not some spots of color, it doesn't have some of that excitement that it should have. Next thing that I recommend is to, if needed, look at getting a new doorbell and new address numbers and a new porch light. That can really freshen up things. The cost is going to be $100 to $200. But it can really change things. And for the address numbers, I suggest elegant numbers, something that goes with your house. I wouldn't go for the cheap kind of basic numbers, but something that looks elegant. After that, I recommend a Welcome Friends doormat. It's funny, but when you walk up to a house and there's a beautiful doormat that says Welcome Friends, it's just more welcoming. Versus if you have an old scraggly doormat, you don't want that. After that, and I'm not necessarily giving this to you in order of how you walk up, but to look at your driveway to see if you have oil spots. If you have oil spots, you want to try to get rid of those. There's some different things that may work. Power washing may work. Kitty litter, if you put it on, may soak it up. Mineral spirits, easy off, Tide. I've heard all these things. Honestly, I've never tried any myself, but I've recommended them, and a lot of them have worked. Next thing that I recommend is removing any kind of debris. So if you have trash cans in front of your house, put them on the side. If you have, I don't know, just really anything, a pot with a dead plant in it, just get rid of all that stuff. And then next thing, and this is getting to be a little bit of a bigger job, is to look at the paint on the outside. If you have old paint, it's maybe peeling, faded, etc., you may want to look at new paint. Now there's some possible shortcuts. If the body of your house looks okay, oftentimes, you have situations where the trim may not look so great, but the body is okay. So you can just do the trim and the garage door. I had a client once who was very short on funds, and I said, do you have enough just to paint the front? And he had not a very nice color, a dingy brown color, so we painted the front a different color. He didn't have the money to paint the sides or the back, but the house sold. And then the last thing that I recommend is if your house is dirty, to look at hosing it down or power washing it, provided that doesn't do any kind of damage, maybe to stucco, etc. So that's your top 10 list, and hopefully that works out for you. All right, thank you. Call us at 858-457-KENT. That's 858-457-5368, or check us out on the web at garykent.com.